Greetings, Jordan Panthers. What I'd like to talk about today on Chalk and Chatbots is having you test drive different chatbots. There's a lot of different chatbots out there. They all work in basically the same way, but basically they're different. There's subtle changes, differences between the different chatbots, and I would really encourage you to try them out. These are the four that I have been using for the last couple years. But there are others out there, so don't limit yourself to just those. And what I really want to encourage you, one of the best, most powerful things about chatbots is that it learns about you, what your interests are, what professionally you expect, and the outputs that you give it. And just remember, if you change chatbots, you can import your history. So recently I changed a lot of my work from ChatGPT to Claude, and Claude showed me exactly how to go to ChatGPT and export my chat history and then paste it into Claude so it could use that wealth of information to help fine-tune the outputs, the responses it gives to me. So just because you have a lot of time put in with one chatbot doesn't mean that if you switch, all that information is wasted. And you can always start afresh and give your prompts the exact directions that you had with your old chatbot. Also, you might want to consider doing a professional versus personal chatbot. So keeping, if you're asking, it to do lesson plans, do that in one chatbot, and about how to cook dinner with another chatbot. It might make it easier to manage, and you might just find a better user experience, a different interface that works better for you. One thing I noticed this year, Gemini switched to look pretty much like ChatGPT. So if you're a ChatGPT person, going to Gemini is going to be a pretty smooth transition, at least from what I've experienced. And one thing I'd like to point out that how you use chatbots, the way you prompt it, what you're asking it to do, how you're responding, that's your intellectual property. Those chatbot manufacturers, companies, they're using that information to build their models, and you have to be aware of that. So what I would suggest is using your own personal accounts for anything you consider your intellectual property that you design, that you fine-tune, templates that you tell the chatbot to build. And if you're using the school email, say for Copilot or Gemini, those are really good because the school accounts work really well at school. So in effect, whatever you're doing with those is going through the school servers, and they control the data. If you have your own accounts with your own personal email, like with Claude or ChatGPT, you have control over the data, like deleting it. For example, on Gemini, you can't go in and delete the data. You can't delete your account. The school district has to do that. So I would just be aware of that, because as teachers, how we build, how we use our tools, that's something that we should have some bit of ownership for, because not all our work is done on school hours, as we know. We're doing a lot of that at home personally. So just go out there. I would really like you to try out these different chatbots and see how they work for you.